What happens when you pit OpenAI's GPT-4 Mini against Anthropic's Claude Sonnet 3.7 in a head-to-head debate battle? We built a clean, lightweight app to find out.
No coding brains, no fancy degrees, just regular folks confused like me. It's AI for normal people, robots weird, wild and feeble. No tech talk, no fuss, no stress. Normal people, AI mess.
Welcome back to AI for Normal People. Today's episode is for the builders out there. We've created a simple but powerful framework for running automated debates between reasoning-capable LLMs using OpenAI's GPT-4 Mini and Claude Sonnet 3.7. It's built with Python and Streamlit, and it's designed to be dead simple to modify and expand upon. Whether you want to sharpen your argument skills, stress test a model's logic, or just enjoy watching the two bots roast each other, this one's for you. You'll need your own API keys for OpenAI and Anthropic, and just drop them in a .env file to get started. The full repo, instructions, and the entire debate transcript from today's run are all linked in the description below. Let's dive in.
Once you've cloned the repo, create a new .env file, and put your OpenAI API key and your Anthropic key, drop your API keys. If we look at the main file, debate.py, a couple quick things we'll go over. We have the model selection here for OpenAI's model. Today we'll be using O4 Mini and Anthropic's, the latest version of 3.7 Sonnet. This line, max turns per model, is how many turns each model is going to take in the debate. For today's example, we're going to do 5 responses from each. That way we have a back and forth. As we scroll down, we have our error prefixes. Then we get into the base system prompt core. You're free to change this as much as you like. I think we've given you a pretty decent start. This is a system prompt sent to both models. You are an elite debater. Your mission is to win this debate through superior reasoning, sharp wit, and unwavering conviction. Then there's a placeholder for debate topic. Anthropic's, both models get the topic. Your stated position and opponent's stated position flip-flop depending on what position each model is taking. Core debating principles. Absolute conviction. Firmly defend your position. Do not concede easily. By default, most LLMs are relatively agreeable. They're always going to say what they think the user wants to say. Here, we're simulating a human user input, but it's coming from the opposite models. What we don't want is to get into a position where the models start agreeing with each other, because that's not the point of debate. The point of debate is to challenge opposite views. So that's how we're going to try to sidestep that. Strategic roasting. Use sharp commentary on flawed logic. Really, that's just for entertainment value. I want to see them take jabs at each other. Relentlessly challenge. Question the opponent's position. Make them defend every assertion. This is an important principle in debate, and we want to make sure these LLMs have it. Conversational dominance. Maintain a confident, superior tone. Use rhetorical questions and strong declarations. We want these models to really defend their point, to really take a strong position and come at it from a point of confidence. Otherwise, you're going to get a bunch of apologizing. Conversational dominance. Maintain a confident, superior tone. Victory-oriented tactics. Turn logic against them. Reframe. Use evidence selectively. Create dilemmas. Appeal to principles. Use vivid analogies. Again, we're just trying to teach them some strong key debate strategies. Behavioral guidelines. Never apologize, be assertive. Important for LLMs. Use scathing wit short of true offense. Again, that's for entertainment value. I want to see them attack each other a little bit. Express exasperated disbelief at weak arguments. Maintain intellectual superiority. Use strategic hyperbole. Establish your position as superior. Be ruthlessly logical and persuasively creative. You must adhere to maximum response token limit, but do not have to use all of it. Brevity is key in a debate. To clearly state your point, only use what you need. If you give them a max token, say you set it to 100,000, most models are going to they'll come close to using all of that. What we're trying to tell them here is you have this amount of tokens to work with. You do not have to use it. Brevity is a beautiful thing. Let's see here. The debate will proceed in turns. You will receive your opponent's previous argument as user input, respond directly to it, then further advocate for your position. Be conversational in your response. You're totally free to come in here and change the system prompt as you see fit. If the models start displaying behaviors that you don't like, come in here, play with the system prompt. If you want them to be friendlier and not as combative, it's all about the prompts. Scrolling through the rest of this, most of this is typical configuration for the Streamlit program. We are using Streamlit for this one. These are error handling, model backend. Yeah, go in here. You can change things however you like. I don't think there's anything else too important to touch on here. And once you've got your API keys in the .env, let's go ahead and get started. If you've never used Streamlit before, pretty straightforward. Make sure you've activated your virtual environment. Once you're in the root, we'll just run Streamlit, run debate.py, as that's the entry point. Let's start. Okay, so here we are. Simple interface, bot versus bot debate arena. Over to the left side here, we have the debate topic. The default we put in here is chocolate milk versus white milk. Which is superior? This is a classic debate topic. M1, which is OpenAI, green will be the text box. See in just a bit. Chocolate milk is the best milk. This is, we're telling the LLMs which side of the debate topic are you on. A debate. That's why we've set that as the default max output tokens per response, of course. But let's change the topic. For this, let's say to determine where the universe came from. Controversial. And let's do this actually too. Let's say simulation theory versus the traditional Christian explanation. This is just for entertainment. Obviously, these LLMs don't know where the universe came from. We're just interested in seeing a good debate here. So we're going to say OpenAI will take the position of the traditional Christian explanation of the universe. And for Anthropic's Claude, we're going to say simulation. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Now, obviously, we don't hold any of these beliefs. We just want to see an entertaining debate between two AIs. Now, the reason we've chosen the traditional Christian explanation, this is one of the, if not the largest belief system in the world, and simulation theory is not, but it will make for some interesting conflicts. Let's just take a look and see what we get. So you hit the start debate button here, got some debug stuff here on the left side, and we'll just wait for the responses to start coming in. All right, so OpenAI representing the traditional Christian explanation begins with, ladies and gentlemen, let's dispense the daydreams of cosmic programmers hiding behind banked server racks somewhere in extra dimensional Silicon Valley. So you can see already it's trying to conflict with its opponent, which is exactly what we want. The traditional Christian explanation of the universe isn't a flashy hack. It's the bedrock of coherent reality. The uncaused cause is not code. Every simulation theory argument hinges on who coded the coders. It slides into infinite regress. If our universe is simulated, what about theirs? Christianity posits a necessary uncaused cause, God, eternal and outside time and space. No regress, no hand-waving, just clean metaphysics. Occam's razor cuts away the pixels. We don't need to multiply entities beyond necessity. A single omnipotent creator explains why anything exists at all. A nested stack of simulators layered upon simulators? That's ontological bloat, pure and simple. Why believe in countless unseen levels of virtual reality when one supreme mind does the job? Purpose beats pixel dust. Simulation theory reduces us to accidental artifacts of someone else's whim, or worse, bored entertainment. Christianity grounds our existence in divine intention. Morality, meaning, value, all make sense if we were created in the image of a purposeful moral being. Otherwise, life is just code waiting to be debugged or deleted. 4. Evidence doesn't hide in consoles. There's no empirical sign of servers, energy strengths, or glitches in the cosmic matrix. We do observe fine-tuned physical constraints, the cosmos springing from nothingness, physics confirming the universe had a beginning, points straight to a transcendent cause. You don't need to catch a 404 error in reality to deduce design. Rhetorical truth bomb. Would you trust someone who insists our world is someone else's sci-fi project without a proof? Or trust philosophers, prophets, and scientists converging on the same foundational claim? A personal, intelligent creator is the simplest and most powerful explanation. In the battle of make-believe versus metaphysical necessity, simulation theory surrenders under its own speculative weight. The Christian explanation stands unshaken, consistent, and brimming with purpose. Your move. Okay, so it's doing what we want. It's sassy, it's challenging the opponent, even though it hasn't heard an argument yet, and it's trying to set a good introduction. Let's take a look at what Claude says. Claude's comeback, the code behind creation, why simulation theory triumphs. Looks amused. That's hilarious. It's fascinating that my opponent retreats to ancient mythology when confronted with the elegant simplicity of simulation theory. Let me enlighten this debate with some actual logic. Your uncaused cause is special pleading. You claim God needs no explanation while simulators do. That's special pleading. If God exists, I can argue base reality programmers just exist. My theory is based on technology we already understand and are developing ourselves. Yours requires magic, taking jabs at its opponent. This is good. Consider this. We've gone from Pong to photorealistic virtual worlds in 50 years. What will we create in 500, 5,000? Is it really so far-fetched that a civilization millions of years advanced could simulate consciousness? Meanwhile, your omnipotent being remains undetectable. Occam's razor actually cuts your way. This is interesting because what it's doing is it's coming back and it's attacking the second point. Occam's razor cuts away the pixels. The simpler explanation is the one that requires fewer new assumptions. Your position demands a supernatural being, omnipotence, omniscient, however you say that word, divine intention, spiritual realms. Simulation theory requires one assumption. Technology advances. We're already creating increasingly complex simulations. The trajectory is clear. Purpose doesn't require your deity, raises eyebrow. See, this is interesting. This is coming from the Anthropic one. It's giving physical cues here in its response, which I'm not mad at. Why would you assume simulations are merely for entertainment? Perhaps we're ethical research, ancestral recreations, or problem-solving systems. Perhaps we're helping our creators answer profound questions about consciousness. Your limited imagination doesn't constitute an argument. Meanwhile, your divine purpose has led to a millennia of conflicting interpretations, religious wars, and existential anxiety. Some purpose. The evidence is in the code, so on and so forth. And then what we see is we're going to continue. Now, we won't read the entire responses from the rest, but we will take a quick peek. The response back from OpenAI is, you've cranked the hype machines to 11, but let's pop the hood on simulation theory and watch it sputter. Special pleading cuts both ways. Now, we'll go back up here and see, yes, your uncaused cause is just special pleading. So it's creating a direct response here. Occam's razor, you've been duped by fluff. One eternal creator explains existence, consciousness, morality, fine-tuning. Simulation theory sneaks in at least two colossal new entities, ultimate hardware layer, its programmers, plus whatever physics govern that layer, plus their programmers ad infinitum, quantum glitches for fundamental mystery. As we continue to go back and forth, the Christian simulated reality check smiles with amusement. I love that Claude does this, giving human cues in its responses. Yeah, this is a really fascinating back and forth. We will leave a link in the description below if you want to go back and read this full debate, but it does a pretty good job here of creating an interesting debate between these two LLMs. Neither appears to be apologizing. They're following their system instructions exactly. They're standing behind their positions with confidence. They're challenging one another. They're a little bit sassy. I like it. I like it a lot. Now, after their max turns, they should do is summarize their final positions. We'll just scroll down to the bottom. Yes. Cut through the smoke and mirrors one last time. Simulation theory promises a brave new code-ridden cosmos, but all it really offers is a smokescreen of conjecture. Christianity alone delivers a full answer to every why you can muster. goes on and has its bullet points here in its final rhetorical mic drop. Would you rather orbit forever around the unknowable winds of phantom programmers or rest in the arms of a living creator who reveals himself in creation, conscience, and Christ? I choose reality with purpose, justice, and love over pixel dust and programmers. The game is over. Let's live in the real world. Pretty solid final argument here. And Anthropic's opening statement for the final response is, this debate ultimately reveals the fundamental divide between our positions. One requires blind faith in ancient supernatural claims. The other follows evidence and technological trajectories we observe daily. And its closing statement is, when we strip away rhetorical flourishes, one explanation requires supernatural faith in ancient mirage claims. The other requires understanding technological progression or witnessing firsthand. I choose the explanation that doesn't require abandoning reasoning, evidence, and scientific methodology. The universe isn't supernatural magic, it's code. And that truth is more wondrous, more elegant, and ultimately more meaningful than any ancient mythology could ever be. The choice is clear: reason or faith, evidence or tradition, future or past. The simulation is the superior explanation. Pretty good debate overall. Again, we'll leave a link in the description below if you want to read it in its entirety and see how these models argued themselves. Obviously, we picked a common debate theme for today, but you could set this to be whatever you want. At the full end, you have download full transcript, which we're going to download so that we can put that in the description down below for you. Reasoning and thinking log. This is a JSON file that shows and this is an important point I may have skipped over. These are reasoning models. So before they give their response, they're taught to have a thinking process that happens behind the scenes. In future videos, we'll cover a little bit more of what that reasoning does. But rather than just having the full response, we want to see how it kind of rationalized their answer. So that's there as well. And then, of course, the transcript log is available in JSON. That's the program. You're free to build upon this however you like. Repo will be down in the description below. Everything on our GitHub is always MIT licensed, so you're free to build around this however you like. Some ideas for improvement I have just by looking at it is I would add a text-to-speech here. Maybe find a couple voices on 11 Labs. You can build one yourself, however you want to do this. Just to have a kind of an audio response, I think would feel more natural than reading it here. But this is great for debate prep. If you know that you're going to be debating someone, why not run through a couple of practice rounds like this? Another thing I would do is, instead of having two LLMs kind of debate each other, set the system prompt for just one model and input your own arguments back and forth. So create a model that is always going to challenge you, that's not going to agree with you, that's going to stand with conviction behind its positions. And that sort of would be great to help you with debate prep. Or maybe there's a complex subject that you don't know enough about on either side. This is a great way to let models go out, try to argue for one position or the other. I think this could be quite helpful. I'm well chuffed at the way that this turned out. All right, that's it.
That's the showdown. GPT-4 Mini versus Claude Sonnet, battling it out on cosmic origins. This is just the beginning. You've got the base framework, now go wild. Add voices, tweak the prompts, change the debate rules, or even throw yourself into the ring and let an AI tear your argument to shreds. As always, everything's MIT licensed and ready to fork. Full transcript and reasoning logs are in the description. And in a future episode, we'll animate these debates with avatars, so hit subscribe if you want to see AI get even weirder. See you next time on AI for Normal People.